I believe in the power of millions of courageous conservatives rising up to reignite the promise of America. And that is why today I am announcing that I'm running for President of the United States.
And that was Senator Ted Cruz announcing his candidacy for president at Liberty University, the evangelical institution founded by Reverend Jerry Falwell. Now, while Liberty has traditionally been a must-stop for every candidate seeking the GOP nomination for president, Democrats have never made the trip to the Lynchburg, Virginia-based university to plead their case to the nation's evangelical community. That is, until today.
And that's what politicians, by and large, do. We go out and we talk to people who agree with us. But it is harder, but not less important, for us to try and communicate with those who do not agree with us on every issue. It is important to see where, if possible, and I do believe it's possible, we can find common grounds.
So for the first time since Reverend Falwell and his moral majority delivered the evangelical vote to Ronald Reagan, the Democrats have come knocking, looking to see if they can now appeal to religious Christians.
You try to understand in this very complicated modern world that we live in what the words of the Bible mean in today's society. You are a school which tries to teach its students how to behave with decency and with honesty, and how you can best relate to your fellow human beings, and I applaud you for trying to achieve those goals.
That obviously didn't make a big hit with everybody there. But with younger evangelicals, those people not included, now showing interest in what have traditionally been Democratic Party positions, is the evangelical vote suddenly in play, Noah Rothman?
No. But
not even the younger ones.
Well, I don't know about the younger ones necessarily. I think Bernie Sanders made a very deft move, and he was astute in doing so by approaching this organization that has otherwise supported conservative candidates because they're in line with their moral values, not necessarily their economic values. And the evangelical candidate doesn't necessarily have a position on big government or entitlement spending. They have a position on morality. And that was a cold reception, but it wasn't an ugly reception. When Mitt Romney approached the NAACP in 2012, he was booed. And that was a really ugly moment.
That's true.
Bernie Sanders didn't receive that reception.
And it should be noted that, in that one sequence we just saw, obviously there were members of the audience who were not impressed with his biblical discussion. But I watched the speech, and there were a number of places where he got a surprisingly large round of applause.
So I spoke to someone from the Bernie Sanders campaign who told me, off the record, a little bit more behind the scenes why they made this decision. Now, from my own analysis, what I think he was trying to do two things here. He's looking at polling, and he knows that millennials are voting on economic issues and values issues at the bottom of the list. 2% for abortion, they're voting on abortion issues, 2% on Christian conservative issues, and it's all economics. So he's going in there and he's going to beat every other candidate to that stage and saying, you're all college students, you all care about these other issues. Well, guess what? Economics first as a populist candidate, and then we can come together and have a conversation about these moral issues.
Interesting. Joe, it's not uncommon over the long history of time in this country for voting blocs to switch. We can all remember when the South was heavily Democratic. Today it's heavily Republican. Do you think we're heading into a time where younger evangelicals might be seeing the benefits of what a Bernie Sanders has to say?
It's very hard to imagine that, right? And just based on the reaction that we saw, the reason why they couldn't boo Bernie Sanders is because they were in a zombie-like state. Those kids, did you see the eyes? Like, whoa, my goodness.
Man.
But to Noah's point,
it wasn't like that through all of it.
No, of course not. And you're right. It was very brave of him to go down there. I think he realized that he has to expand his base. He certainly has the very left wing of the Democratic Party locked up. Now he's got to broaden that, particularly when things go down to South Carolina after he wins, and I say he will win. Iowa, New Hampshire, then South Carolina is next. That's not too far from Liberty.
That's going to happen. But in any event, it does seem that in this entire election season, faith keeps becoming a larger element of the discussion. And it almost feels like with every passing election, it becomes a bigger and bigger element. No, you don't agree?
Well, I don't necessarily see it that way. I thought, for example, I'll bring up Mitt Romney again. His faith was very unique from a presidential candidate as a Mormon, but it was sort of a peripheral issue. And everybody made a very important point of not making it a campaign issue. To your other point, though, if we enter into an alternate universe, a through-the-looking-glass world where a socialist loses working-class voters and somehow picks up evangelicals, we really are in a completely different political universe.
You know, we could talk about this a lot longer. I love this topic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't get to, but we'll do it again soon. Remember, if you want to weigh in on any of the issues we talk about here on the show, be sure to go over to newsmaxtv.com/comments just to let us know what you think. Also, Newsmax is hosting a post-debate special featuring Ed Berliner, J.D. Hayworth, Steve Malzberg, and myself Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Be sure to be there. We're coming right back.